drop some knowledge on us.
All right, so this is a presentation I gave a year ago at WordCamp. So I don't really know what's going to be on here. So forgive me if this is a little hazy. But basically, how to create a backend that your clients will actually use. A lot of the challenges that we face at Sky sometimes is we make a site and they never do anything in the backend. One, it's too complicated for them, or two, they just are lazy and don't want to do it because they just think it's going to be hard. So if we can create a backend just for them that's super easy, that hopefully will allow them to be able to make the changes very easily and then continue to use it. So the main thing is clients are confused when they get into the backend of WordPress. There's a lot of options. To us that are in WordPress every day, that all makes sense. But to them, they're like, okay, posts, pages, I just want to create another, content. Which one do I want, So we just need to lay it out really easy for them and make it as simple as possible for them. So when a year ago, this was the WordPress dashboard that I just pulled from a site that I was using. So this is pre 3.5. It looks like this is 3.3. But look, that's just a ton when a client logs in. They don't know where they should go, where they should look, what they should do. So we can simplify that a lot and just make it much easier for them. So how does WordPress stack up against other CMSs? This is how many links are on the dashboard page when you log in. So I don't know what the columns are, sorry. But WordPress has a lot more than the other. I don't know, I don't remember. I think maybe 75 is the actions and 628 is maybe words or something, but WordPress just has a ton of stuff going on compared to the others at least. So it's like, where should the user look if there's 75 things to look at or click on? So 3.5, as you guys have probably seen, is simplifying this a lot more. So this is pre 3.5, this is 3.3. But so just with that same dashboard that I was looking at before, this is the same exact dashboard. I just simplified it by going to the screen options in the top right, and then hiding some of the widgets that we didn't need. And then on the left, I hid some things that most admin users aren't going to need. I don't know what's over there, it's kind of blurry. Like tools is one. Most people don't need tools because there's nothing in there to export. Your editor or whatever isn't going to be exporting content. That's something for the administrator. They can call us to do. One of the things that I try to do is on their user profile, set up an options. So when you go to edit profile, and you can say, I'm an advanced user or I'm a beginner, or a couple options. And based on that setting, it then gives them different options in the back end. So, did you know that? I just kind of jumped over it. So anyways, we have a lot of options that we can customize for the user to make it easier. So one thing that we can do to make things easier for the clients is custom post types. Custom post types just make it very easy to manage content instead of throwing everything in posts and then filtering them a certain way. Custom post types. There's taxonomies, lots of plugins. Plugins add more options though, so be careful. We can make widgets, theme options, templates. There's the support editor, meta boxes. I don't like shortcodes, but you can use them. And then there's help and videos. The reason why I don't like shortcodes is just they're not very intuitive to the user. If they remove it off the page, they're never going to see it again. If you're going to be dependent on shortcodes, maybe make a help page that lists the shortcodes and what they do, and maybe the parameters or something like that. But if you're really dependent on shortcodes in your team, that's fine, but I think give them a place to know what they mean. So, support, one thing that we do, we put a little support thing on the dashboard that's, hey, if you need some help, call us, here it is, here's a contact form, and this just goes right in the dashboard. So if they log in, they can contact us right away and get our information. So if they are getting frustrated, we give them a quick way to contact us so that they are happy. Yeah?
Do you guys utilize the WP101 plugin at all?
No. So I don't know too much about that. You want to mention what it does?
Oh yeah, so like if you guys do any client work or if you're helping anybody who's kind of new to WordPress or whatever, there's a company called WP101, and their entire business is just making online tutorials. It's extremely affordable. The website's just WP101, and they've even made a plugin available to embed on the dashboard. So, for instance, if you have clients that are coming to you with a lot of basic WordPress training and it doesn't really fit your business or it doesn't fit your schedule well, it could be worth it for you to find us a place to build for that overall for your clients and just embed that plugin in the dashboard, because you can literally give them access to all those videos to teach themselves WordPress so that they're not coming to you with a bunch of questions, or rather better qualified questions.
I mean, I know we've used, before WP101 came out, there was video user manuals, and we signed up for that service a long time ago. We've just continued to use it, and it's actually a really good service too. It has a similar plugin. It actually offers the video with English and like British English and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's really good. But WP101 is actually is very good as well. So
Yeah.
Has anybody heard of WP Help? Have you used it?
WP Help, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've used it before.
Yeah, WP Help, a little bit more about WP Help. WP Help, the best thing about it for me is that it's a plugin that you can find in the WordPress repo. And when you install it, you can basically put a URL in there that pulls the help content from another address. So one thing that we've talked about doing at Skyhook, but we have yet to do, is basically setting up another WordPress installation on our server, and then adding all the help content we want in there. And then all we need to do is go into our own installation and go to like the export link or whatever, and it has a URL. And then we go into the client site and we put that URL into WP Help, and it pulls all the content. So if we update anything on ours, it updates there. And so we can install that on everybody's site, and then it will pull all of our content for help. So that's a really good one. I like that one. And as Corey said, we use WP user manuals, so there's WP 101 as well. The user's manual has written documentation too if people want to read. So another thing we can do to make it easier for our clients is improve the editor. So here's an example of an improved editor. On the left, you can kind of see there's a drop down that adds styles to links, and then in the editor.css file or editor-css file, it actually styles them to look like what they're going to see on the front end. And on the right, you can see that it just adds a class to the A element, and then it just does it. So that's much better than a shortcode with a download link, because this is how it should work in my opinion, because it just makes it much easier. You can style it to make a button, a link. You can do images to do this or that, or anything. You can put in that drop down box to say it's a download link, it's a whatever it is, and it will add classes to elements, and I think it will even wrap elements if you need them to. There's a lot of options for that. And the alternative is shortcodes. I don't know what's down there, so forgive me, but shortcodes are just harder for the user. They gotta manually find the link, and they can't use just the link thing that's built into the editor. One thing I forgot to mention is the reason why we need to care about making this easy for clients is, for a lot of us, WordPress is our living, but if we are doing a crappy job to the clients, they see WordPress as a hunk of junk because they can't do what they need to do. So that just gives them a bad expectation or a bad view of WordPress. So we need to give them quality products and make it as easy as possible so that they think WordPress is great and not just give them junk, because we basically determine their viewpoint. So that's really the basis of this presentation.
Now, where do you go to add those styles and stuff?
You can do that in the functions,
Is
but
it just right now?
there's some plugins that do this. There's TinyMC Advanced, but there's documentation all over. I don't remember offhand exactly, but if you need some help finding that, I can give you some documentation on that. But I think it's a class. Does anybody remember offhand?
That's a class. I forget what it's for, but there's also a CSS. There's also like a CSS file that you can make that's for the editor too. That'll pull it from that. So
yes, but it won't include the style dropdown.
No.
So the editor-style.css, I think that's what's called. will control how things are styled in the editor. So sometimes you will make a drop down and you'll style something in the editor, and then it will just look like a black link or a blue link that's default, but then on the front end it has this big button around it and it's all fancy. I think it's best to style it in the editor the same, because the user is then going to know what to expect when you get to the front end. So that's why the buttons on the left look all fancy, as where normally in a generic WordPress install it would just be a link with an underline. So
I find this is like usually the area that the client struggles with the most once they go live and they're trying to put their content in and like align images, and it's like never the same. So I guess making this part easier for the client.
Yeah.
being the biggest hurdle.
The limit shortcode usage, I think I just remembered. So on the bottom section, on the bottom row of the editor, you see a bunch of buttons. That's actually a plugin. I don't remember which plugin. But instead of just adding a shortcode, like the one on the very left is actually, I think, adding columns. And so instead of doing like, bracket column 1, bracket, and then your content, and then ending the column, you can just hit that button and say you want 3 columns, and then paste that content in, and it will put the shortcode in. So if you're going to do shortcodes, try to do something like that that's just easy for them. That's much easier. You can see one of them is an accordion, and there's ones that's tabs. And so instead of them having to figure out how to use the shortcode, just throw a button in there, and it makes it so much easier for them. But again, limit the buttons that you're putting in there. Don't give them 150 options, just the ones that are needed on their site. The other thing about the editor and TinyMCE, my favorite plugin for tables is TinyMCE Advanced. Obviously, tables are a pain to work with, but sometimes it's needed or should be used for tabular data. But TinyMCE Advanced allows you to add some buttons there to modify tables easily for the client, add a row, delete a row, and stuff like that. So that's, if you do need tables, or if your theme or your site calls for it, that's a good way for clients to be able to do that. So then there's help. Inside of WordPress, there's the help dropdown. That's great, and it has a lot of good documentation. But if you're going to be making plugins or making custom themes and custom post types, and your theme, has all some kinds of custom stuff or whatever, consider writing this help documentation so that's easy for your clients to know what to do. And tell them, hey, there's a help tab. You can see, how to use this functionality or what to do here, or here's your shortcodes that you can use on this page, or whatever it is. But that's already built into WordPress, and there's hooks that you can hook into to write that documentation easily. So it's not like you're having to hack anything to do that. We talked about videos. This is how the videos show. There's just a tab in the left side of the navigation in the admin setting screen, and it just shows videos. So templates. Consider using templates for custom page templates when it's needed. Instead of just putting everything in a table or divs inside of the editor, use templates, and then from templates you can call, or you can add, you can target things based on what template they're using to display different content for them inside of the admin. So you can say, okay, you're using this template, here's how you're going to want to use it. I don't know if I have a screenshot of this, but basically what we do, or I've done, is if they select a template, there's a little meta box on the top right that says, you're using this template, here's what's going to show up, here's how you edit things, and here's how you do things. Instead of using the help menu, it just shows up right there on the post screen. But you can target it by getting the post meta of the template, basically. Does that make sense? I don't remember a lot about this slide, so. So what is the best way to set up the backend for your project? I don't know that answer. It really depends on what your project calls for. I know at Skyhook, we did this a year ago. We do it different, almost every project, kind of trying to figure out the best way to do it. It's going to be different every time, but just try to keep it easy and try to keep it simple for your client. That's I guess my best advice. It's not going to be the same every time unless you're really every project's the same, I guess. But So this is a site that we did on WordPress at Skyhook. This site is super complex, and let me show you something.
Build a Photoshop on WordPress.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I didn't know what I was getting into with this presentation. Okay, so one thing that we do is we just customize this the WordPress login screen. This is, the login screen for admins. But if you give them a nice admin screen, it just makes the experience a little bit better for the user, and that takes 5 minutes. So consider doing that. So this is a site we did like a year and a half ago. But this site is super custom, but pretty much everything in this site is 100% editable by the clients. So as you hover over these images change. They can change this text here easily. They can change the slide. They can change this image here. They can change their content, all of these navigations. But as you go from page to page, we got like a little map thing here. But you go to a different page, and you got content on the left and an image on the right. But you go to another page, and you got a map on the right. Like, every page is completely different. I mean, there's like sets of pages that are similar. They have golf courses, all the golf courses have generally the same layout. But typically it's content on the left, sidebar on the right. This didn't follow that. And then the other thing that I noticed as I was making this is generally you put everything in a widget for the sidebar. Well, that could be considered a sidebar and same with every page, but it's not intuitive to users to go to a page and then to try to edit something and then be like, wait, where's that content that's on the side? Oh, I gotta go into these widgets. Oh, I gotta find what page that's on. Like, that just doesn't make sense. And then in addition to that, the content for each golf course, like this is a golf course, it has a View Clubhouse link, and then it has a specific image. It has some course facts and awards. So that means every golf course would have its own sidebar. And so there would be 50 widgets in the widgets area, and that just doesn't make sense. So it really made us think about a different approach to how we wanted to set up the admin. And really, that's just something I would recommend trying to do, is think about it a little bit differently if you need to. Don't just always use the widgets, because I don't think it's very intuitive, but obviously sometimes it's appropriate, and I use them all the time. Let me see if I have a login for this. Winner. Okay, this is an old dev site for this site. I don't know what's going on with this or what you're going to see, but we'll see. Can I expand this? Where is that? Okay. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so on the left here, first thing we did is, yeah, there should be an arrow here. We just added the client's logos to any custom post types that we use. Just makes it simple. And then we removed some things that they didn't need, like tools are gone, I believe. I'm logged in as the admin, so I might see some different things. But here we have our video user manuals. That's a call tracking plugin, and then WordPress SEO. So let's go into our pages and let's go to a golf course. So this is a golf course here, and we got the content, we got tabs, and then we got a link to that that course's clubhouse, an image, and some other stuff pulled in. So how to edit this page for the client is pretty simple. This is just straight, in the editor. So here's our links. So So I didn't do a very good job of styling these with the editor CSS. So that's something that I failed at, but it's okay. So if this was a bigger screen, this is the help tab. That's usually on the top right by publish. And this just says, okay, you're on the course page, and this is the help content. The awards and facts can be edited below. Any images will appear. You know, you can read that, but this tells you how to do everything. There's one thing that we're pulling in automatically, these images up here on all the courses. But if they want to change that, we tell them, hey, go here, and you can change all those because they appear on all pages. But if we go down on this page, we can change the banner. That's this banner up here. So they can change that easily from this one page. They can change the course awards, and they can change the course facts all within this page. And then they can add and delete any sidebar images, which is, we only have the one here. So it's just very easy for them to edit this page and all in one place. That's really the thought behind the whole process of this presentation, make it super easy. One thing I thought about when I made this is the course awards could easily be a custom post type and just make each award and maybe assign them to a taxonomy or assign them to a post or whatever. But it just didn't make a lot of sense because if we're putting everything in one place for them to edit, and those course awards don't really need to be pulled anywhere else, then let's just put them right on this page and then they can edit them here. So that's kind of why we went with that method. But it's all up to you as the admin to make those decisions. So I don't know, there's a lot going on the site, but the idea is that everything is super editable. I don't know, do you guys have any questions about this site? There's a lot going on here. This is a really complicated site, complicated build.
So in the editor, those are just meta boxes?
Yes.
And then how do you add the editor in the meta box? Because it looks like you have a second editor. Right
Yeah.
there.
I don't remember how I did this. This is a while ago. But I will tell you that the best way to do it now is to use advanced custom fields. So that's what we use now. I did this before advanced custom fields, or I knew about advanced custom fields. This was like a year and a half ago, and it was a lot of work.
It's worth this price.
Yeah, I know we got all the add-ons. But advanced custom fields is where it's at. Basically, you could say, well, I'll talk about advanced custom fields next. Does anybody not know what it is? I mean, you guys know what it is or not? No. Okay, I'll talk about it a little bit after this, I guess. But it's really awesome. Any other questions about this site? I don't know. You guys can go to desertmountain.com if you want to look at it, and if you guys have questions, I can answer them. But so let's find our slideshow. Maybe.
Yeah, that's cool. That's your desktop.
That? Yeah. Well, the WordPress logo behind it, yeah. That's from WP Daily Post, all the wallpapers. Okay, wait, that's not it. Okay, so really the possibilities to editing the admin are endless. This is Happy Tables. It's a WordPress installation where people can basically sign up to make a WordPress site that's for restaurants, where they can edit their menu, where they can create menu items, they can add events, they can plug in all their stuff on the left in here. This is basically a SaaS. It's a whole application that's built on top of WordPress. This admin interface is highly edited. I wouldn't recommend going this far, but this is a company built off of WordPress basically. So anytime a new admin update comes out or a new version of WordPress, they are making sure that their backend is compatible and they don't have any problems. But if you do customize the admin too much, it's going to break when they update. So in the stuff that I was showing, it's stuff that's all part of core, so it's not a problem. But technically, I bet this is part of core since I know the developer. But it's just super highly edited. But really, you can do so much. I had a login for this where I showed some of the stuff. I don't know if I still have it. I can look for it. But basically, when you go in to edit a product, like a menu item, instead of having to click into it it would just have a quick edit screen, and you could edit everything right there. It wasn't like just the generic stuff. You could add images, you could change content, you could assign anything that you could do on the full one right there, but it was super easy to use. I don't know, you can take a look at it. I think you can sign up for free and play with it, but take a look at that if you're really interested in
Question,
capabilities.
did you say if you customize it too much, then it's hard for the updates to?
Yes. So WordPress updates, the major updates happen like every 9 months, about 9 months to a year, approximately. When they do the major updates tend to have more that go on with the admin side, I guess. And because of that update, it could break if you wrote something, if you did whatever you did here, it could break if you did a lot. But you probably aren't doing too much that is going to break this, really. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm at a different
Yeah.
level, but just trying to understand, I guess, the WordPress.
If that doesn't make sense, you probably won't have problems, I guess. That's the best way to put it. Because you probably won't go into this much customization in this side. And really, you don't need to. It's just really, you want to make an impact on your clients for how easy it is, because it is WordPress, and it's how those people make a living, and we want our clients to have respect for the platform and to value it as well. So that's really all I have. So, yeah. Let's see.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
So we use advanced custom fields a lot religiously.
Mhm.
It's just amazing and awesome. Everybody loves LA itself.
Yeah.
But I notice a lot of people in these premium themes use like the theme option framework and stuff like that. And to me, it seems very cumbersome because I've seen a couple of clients that have had that. I went back there and just checked it out, and it's just like to set up widgets to even get it started and stuff like that. Just seems weird. But I just kind of wonder what you guys' take is on that versus advanced fields.
I'll speak for myself, I guess. I like advanced custom fields a lot more than any of that. I think that the premium theme community is because they were dependent on something that was included in the theme. So ever since, well, in the last, few months, Elliot's come out with the light version, which you can include inside of the theme. So I think that may change things in the near future. Yeah. But it was basically you could include it without plugging, include it in the theme, and it worked. I like advanced custom fields because it does have an options page, so you can do that if you need to. So I don't know if anybody has any comments about that.
Just making sure I wasn't the only one.
Okay, so this is just a dev version of WordPress. This is actually the recent update, or a recent version, not what is it called?
MP6?
Yeah, it's not 3.6, but this is using MP6? MP6, I think. I guess I could just look, that would be the easiest thing to do. Yeah, MP6. MP6, it's just a different styling of the WordPress admin. It's kind of Mark or Matt Mullenweg's thing, so it's pretty cool, but don't mind the black look here. So advanced custom fields. I don't have it installed, and that's going to be a little bit of a thing. Advanced custom fields allows you to add custom fields to anything you want. And you can assign those custom fields to pages, post types, page templates, users, taxonomies, anything, I guess. I don't know. Anything you want. So right now, Advanced Custom Fields is not in the WordPress repo because he's redoing it to meet in compliance with the WordPress repo. Basically, he was packaging it, some of his paid plugins into it with a key, but they made him take it out because of that. Everything, he's in good standing with them, he just has to redo that. So to get it, you have to go to GitHub and search for it, and then install it. So
there is a link though to it on the WordPress.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you just Google Advanced Custom Fields or just go to his website. So Do you guys want me to show this? I don't know if everybody knows about this or you want to know about this. I don't want to do two right away. You guys don't want to learn about it. So, okay, so we'll just download the zip file. Go to add new. Choose our file. Install that. Can't get rid of it. Screen space is valuable.
I was thinking that's why your left bar wasn't popping up because it's responsive. So that pushed it to small.
Yeah, maybe. It's good in there on this weird. That was an old version, but I don't know. Okay, so now we have it installed. It's going to be an option under here called custom fields. And then we have settings and custom fields. Let's just go to the settings quick. So from settings, you can buy add-ons for advanced custom fields, and this is why you had to remove it. There's a repeater field, there's a flexible content, gallery, and options. There's actually much more if you go to the site. And I would take a look at those because they're really pretty awesome. Let's check them out. So these are paid ones, the ones that I mentioned. So gallery basically allows you to add a bunch of images into a meta box, and you can create a gallery. You can do whatever you want. This plugin is going to be mainly for developers because you'll have to integrate it with the theme. There are shortcodes that come with it. I've actually never used them, so I don't know how good they are. So that's easy. Flexible content, you can have a meta box where you can say, okay, I want to add 3 columns here, and then it will add that meta box, and then you can add another one that says, from the same flexible content that says, okay, this one's going to be 2 columns, and because I selected 2 columns or 3 columns, it's going to show that many WYSIWYGs under it. So you can basically, if you have a home page that they might be reordering things, because from this flexible content, you can then move 3 columns on top of the 2 columns or whatever. And you'd obviously have to style everything appropriately in your theme to be able to do that. But they can rearrange those items in your theme. If you build it properly, it would adapt to it. So the flexible content is pretty cool. The most use I've seen for it is the home page. But,
Very flexible.
yeah, it's up to you how you set it up.
I mean, there's something
The options page just adds an options page to the site, kind of like theme options, and you can put whatever you want in there. Repeater field, so if you have like a slideshow on the home page and it only has 3 slides, but you want them to be able to do 4, 5, 12, 100, you can add a repeater field and they just click add a new slide or add, whatever you title it, and they can add a new image and title or whatever it is you say to include in that repeater area. I can demo that, but they also have some Google Maps, all this other stuff that you should look into it if you need it. But some pretty awesome stuff. So let's see. We won't use any of the add-ons now. So then you can go to custom fields, and we can add a new one, and we can title this, I guess, homepage. This is just some custom fields that we'll put on the homepage, I guess. And so then we'll click add field. Man, this contrast. So we can name the field. Let's just call this image, I guess. The field name is fine. It's just generated based on the label. Then we can select what kind of field type we want it to be. So if we want it to be, for this case, we want it to be an image, but you can see there's all kinds of options. You can do tabs. That's a new feature to Advanced Custom Fields, but you can do any of these. I don't think any of them need too much explanation. But so if you do the WYSIWYG, I should say, you are going to get a full WordPress WYSIWYG, just like the one in the editor. If you do text area, it'll just be a text area with no options, I guess, or no ability to add any markup. So here we can select image. Do we want that required or not? We'll say no. How do you want that to be returned to you as the developer? Whatever you want, doesn't matter. And then the thumbnail, so once you add that image, how do you want that preview to be displayed to the user? Whatever you want. You can add some custom logic here, or conditional logic. So only show the image based on if this field is yes or something. Whatever, anything you want. This conditional logic is based on the other fields that you have created in advanced custom fields. So we can close that, and then let's say this is a slideshow or something. We'll do content for the slide, and we'll do the WYSIWYG here. So you don't want to require it, I guess. Now, the WYSIWYG has some pretty cool options. Do you want the toolbar to be full or basic? I guess I don't know exactly what shows, but basically basic is just really the first row, I'm pretty sure. It's like bold and italic in those couple, adding a link or not, and maybe a couple of other ones. But since this is, let's just say, a slide or something like that, we'll just do basic. We don't want them to be able to add images into this widget because it's just, like I said, just the slides content. So we don't add images. We don't want images on top of images. And then do we want to run the content filter, which is going to add paragraphs and breaks and everything like that according to how WordPress does it when you add the WYSIWYG. And that's it. So then we can say, how do we want to show this? So we can set the rules for when we want to show it. Only on a post type, if a user is logged in and their user type is what, if it's a certain page, if it's a page type, the parent, template, you have all these options. So we're going to say, you could do, if we're doing the homepage, you could say if page is homepage. If you do that, I would say just use if type is front page, because then if the user creates a new front page, it will just use this. So then after that, you can say, where do you want this meta box to show? Order 0 is fine. Do you want it to display on the side or normal in the main area? Normal. Do you want the style to have no style? It'll just it'll have style, but it'll just be it won't have the box basically around it. Or do we want it to be standard? We'll do standard. And then what do we want to hide on the screen? If you want to hide the editor, you can do that. If you want to have the excerpt or anything like that, you can hide this stuff for that, whatever reach the rules set. And so that's everything. And let's publish this. And let's go to pages. And let's go to the home page. And so here we got our homepage content. This stuff's pulling from the sidebar. And now we have our homepage image. And we can select an image. And this is what's already in my media library. That one sounds good. And then we can add content here. And you see this is the basic one. And then we can just put whatever we want in here. Let's just put some more Ipsum. And that's it. That's how it works. And from here, if you're a developer, you can pull this in easily using some, just going to the documentation, and it will tell you. There's two functions you really need to know. It's get field and the field. Get and the work similar to WordPress. Get just returns it, the echoes it. So if we're doing, let's see, an image, all we need to do is say the field name. So in this case, my field name was label or image, sorry, and that would echo the whatever is returned. That would only work if the return value was image. If I selected that, I think I did URL. So this would work, and I could just put this in the home or the front page.php, and you'd be good to go. So that's pretty much it. I don't know. Is there more you guys want to know? I could go deeper into it. There's a lot to know, but I think this will get you guys started with it. Anything else? All right. on that, in the documentation on advancedskills.com, I bet there's some documentation about how to display that information with the shortcode. So I could have put that in the, just in the editor in the top, and I'll put that, I guess, but